Welcome to the 10th season of the Author's Corner. Each show is jam-packed with interviews, reviews, and so much more for you, the author and the artist. And now, here's our host, author H.D. Campbell.
Welcome to the next day of the Author's Corner with H.D. Campbell. As always, I'm your host, H.D. Campbell. We're here looking at all the sea life. It looks like an eel, and that eel is alive. We're at an actual aquarium. We just got off the Finding Nemo ride, Finding Dory, and now we're... Oh, wait a minute, look. I'm trying to find... So you said eels can swim backwards? Oh, right. Behind me are the big school of fish, but I just saw a big old turtle eat a smaller fish. Oh yes, big fish, little pond. Now when we return, we'll have 3 amazing authors, and we'll go from there.
When the Author's Corners return, we'll start the ball rolling with Ana'Gia Wright with an update on her latest project. Then later, we'll talk to author, model, Cancer Survivor Alycia Morris about her work and how she survived her battle. Stay tuned. The beach can be very sexy, especially if you choose the right travel agency. Let Carter Lee Travel be that travel agency. Let her get you to the romantic beach of your desires. With reasonable, cost-effective packages, there isn't a beach too far out of reach. Whether it's by flight or cruise, Carter Lee Travel will get you there. Feel the sun in your face and your toes in the sand. Call Carter Lee Travel at 310-722-3099. Email her at carterleetravel@mail.com or contact her via social media. It's Carter Elite Travel, your personal travel concierge. Do you need editing and formatting services for your manuscript or document? Go to H.D. Campbell Productions, who will offer professional services and reasonable prices. For more information, call H.D. Campbell at 314-265-9169, or you can send him an email at hdcampbell3@msn.com. Let H.D. Campbell be your editor. As always, let your writing fuel your spirit.
We are still at the undersea Dory exhibit, where we have a live aquarium. So far we had the Dory ride, and then we also had Turtle Talk. And now we're up here about to explore a whole lot of things. We're coming up on a whole lot of footage. Stay tuned.
It's been a journey. I actually think I got a little burned out, so I took some time off from doing certain things. Since I've write in a couple of different genres, I actually had completed this book, and it's just been sitting, so I decided to kind of step away from the more creative side of the process and focus a little more on the business side. So I decided to, hey, let me go ahead and go through the whole editing processes, getting the covers and that sort of thing created. And it's kind of figured out that that's kind of what my cycle of writing is. There are times where I really want to do the creative writing part, but then when I get to have a little too much of that, then I kind of move over to doing the business side, and it gives me that structure, so I'm still moving forward on a project, but it's not necessarily in the creative aspect, and it gives me a change of scenery.
What made you actually start taking that up or learning that that's a way to help yourself without walking away from the project?
For me, I think I learned early on that I actually write in cycles, and though I am well aware of this in my head, it doesn't necessarily mean that I don't go through that whole done with writing every year, but I learned that the rhythm of my writing and my process. And so then I started structuring everything else around that. So I figured out that usually around beginning of August, into July is when the voices will kind of start to talk to me again. So I know to be prepared for those types of things. And that'll run me through National Novel Writing Month, and a lot of times into maybe the first couple of weeks of January. So it's seasonal as well. And as the season starts to change and we kind of get into the more winter part, I get less of that drive to do the creative stuff. I get less of the voices talking to me. And so at that time I know there's still, this is still a business. And so there are business things that I need to nurture. And in those cases, then I can actually just start to look at those aspects, divide out what projects I have, start to formulate marketing plans and that kind of stuff. And again, looking at covers, trying to put together the different stages of editing, because while editing, some of that is still creative, some of that is, the proofreading, it is what it is. The content editing is more the creative side, but there are different, phases of editing, and instead of looking at it from a creative aspect, you're looking at it that, okay, now how do I go and structure these things so that it's a cleaner manuscript? And you can start looking at all those things, and then as your cycle kind of shifts back into the creative aspect, the two things will kind of merge. So there'll be times in the summer where I may do a short story here or there, or something that I'm working on may trigger another idea for a poem or something, but it's still, the business stuff is kind of still the focus. And then as we move further into the year, down to end of June, beginning of July, the shift starts to happen. And it allows me now to then plan out and understand that this is kind of how my process works, and to be okay with that.
Awesome. I want to switch gears and jump back to the business side for a second. The voices that she says she hears are basically the vein of any fiction author's existence. The voices are basically our characters. Any author knows your character really pushes your story, but I want you to explain in your words, what does your voices mean?
Oh, so there are a number of them, and depending on who they are, they actually have roles not just of telling their stories, but they actually will corral the others. So I do have the one I like to refer to as my arrogant, obnoxious, self-centered, egotistical, pompous SOB of a vampire who, when everybody decides that, all the voices decide they want to talk, he kind of will corral them. And at that point, I guess in their own way, they vie for who is supposed to tell their story now. And I kind of feel like once that decision is made, that voice will then become the dominant voice. And sometimes, they fight amongst themselves, and I'm just sitting here like, okay, somebody just tell me, what you want me to do, what you want me to write. And then there are other times where they repeat the same line again and again until eventually I have to stop whatever I'm doing. There have been times I've had to pull over on the side of the road and write out or dictate out or, read into my phone, whatever it is that they're giving me at that moment, just so they'll quiet down so that I can even function and do other things in life.
Okay. Awesome. Now, how does that interfere with your business side, or does it?
For me, I really don't think it does. I think they run their burnout. They run their cycle until they burn out, and then they kind of will go into hibernation and go do their rest. And that gives me the freedom then to do the business side. I think there's a happy medium in times where, so for example, at the end of the year, there may be events going on where I may have to do some creative stuff, but it's the business, kind of the things together. So you may go to a conference and sometimes somebody will say, give us a little bit about your book, or give us a quote from the book or something like that. And I'm able to kind of say, hey, y'all want to give me something. And, somebody may wake up, give me a few lines, give me a section or what have you, and allow me to do that part. but then they'll go back into wherever it is they need to do if they know that I'm in a place right now where I need to be doing more of the business stuff. But typically, based on the times of the year and the way I kind of plan things out, I'm able to balance that, and they are, the voices will allow me to balance that.
Awesome, awesome. Now, for my authors that didn't see the last four or five interviews, which I don't know why not, you're not watching the show, could you tell us what is your genre of writing?
So, under the pen name Ana'Gia Wright, I actually write urban fiction. It's not the street lit kind, but more urban dramas, urban thrillers, urban suspense. It's kind of a bit of love stories, a little bit of mystery going on, and then the layer of suspense and thrill that goes into that. So it's kind of a combination of things, but it very much is from the African American, Black American perspective.
Okay. Now, in a little bit more detail, how does your genre of writing differ from the common urban writing?
Well, there's this ongoing discussion about what's classified kind of as urban fiction versus street lit versus African American fiction, and a lot of these names and these classifications came up really from the publishing end for them to be able to group the works together. But I think for me, what I've kind of been experiencing lately is that I really want to make sure that people understand that when they pick up my work, that it won't be that gritty street lit, which kind of, it has its own place, it has its own following. But I don't want people to have the expectation when they pick up my book that they're going to have, this whole street running or these situations where there's a lot of excessive violence. That's just kind of not what I write. That's not where I am. I do focus, I think, more so on the love story and getting the family together. But there's always a lesson behind that. So it kind of starts out with what is the lesson that I want to present, or that the characters want to present in this particular work, and then everything else kind of forms around that. So there's always the story behind the story behind the story, instead of just kind of experiencing on a street level or on a really high level, this is kind of what's going on.
Okay. Now, with that said, what are a few of your titles?
So the very first one was Little Sister, and Little Sister was a story that was more about, it's a coming of age type situation where this young girl finds her first love dead at the age of 13, and how years later what was going on, and the fact that she never really dealt with finding this scenario in her life, how later on in life those things are still having an impact on her life. Love and Deja is the actual prequel now to the agency book, and it really was a book that focused on body image related to weight and skin complexion. The main character, Deja, was stood up at the altar by her love of her life, and then she found out kind of that he was in love with her best friend. And so all of these years that her mother had kind of ingrained in her that she was too dark, she was too big, no one would ever love her, the fact that this guy did, and then the way that he left her, it was traumatic. And so the rest of the story is about, again, her dealing with that, grappling with that, and actually opening up and allowing love to come back into her life. All right, so the agency book, it's The Agency Reviving Resurrection. It follows the men from the Love and Deja book, so it's kind of a series that's formulating off of that. And it kind of is about what they went through in their former employer of the agency. It's a place that should not have existed. It's a place that most people don't know exists, so they kind of lurk in the shadows, but they're the government's, or at one time were the government's cleanup crew. And now that they've been decommissioned by the government, it's a private venture that they will focus on, like, international people who have been kidnapped, but they also have some mad scientists. They have, of course, their own people who are experts in different types of technology, but because they're a private venture, they're allowed to be able to work on some things that some people would consider to be questionable. But also in all of that, there is this project called Resurrection, which was supposed to be one of those fountain of youth type deals. And it was a cloning experiment that never should have happened. And the reality of their situation now is that somebody's trying to revive that program, and it is a danger to any and everyone in the world. So even in all of that process, of course, there's love that is found, there's secrets that are revealed, and there's a new pair that gets put together from the character's perspective that will, again, carry on to the next books.
Okay. Now, speaking of the next books, what do you think is your next book? You're not going to catch you with that one. Huh?
So, I don't have that answer. If it was up to some of my friends and my fans and my followers, it would actually be the follow-up to this particular one, which is tentatively named The Agency Fountain of Youth. And there'll probably be a novella or a short story in there, because there'll be an illegitimate child that will have his own story, but it's imperative that kind of he gets brought into the fold so that it would make sense for the next ones. If not, I actually have a couple of other paranormal works that I'm working on, so I'm kind of torn between the two sets of things that I'm doing. But as far as the urban stuff, it probably will be The Agency Fountain of Youth. And it's like,
The Ana'Gia Wright, how does she classify herself as an author?
Well, I'm a writer. Writer and author for me are two different things. I am clearly a writer. I am a pantser. So I started out being a pantser. I just kind of would like sit down and let it come to me. And in most cases, that's still what happens. But there is kind of sometimes a high level of the story that I'm aware of up front. I do tend to be a non-linear writer. So my characters typically will give me the beginning of the story and the end of the story, and then I have to try to work with them to piece the rest of the story together. With projects, I tend to write one at a time, though, one of the other characters gives me some information on their story. I have a little journal or, files or something somewhere where I can kind of jot down those notes. And unless they really say, you need to stop what you're doing and actually work on mine, then I'll continue to work on one project or whatever is my primary project at that time.
Okay. Well, I know that writing is not your only talent. What do you do when you want to just unwind, unplug, and de-stress?
I'm a reader. For me, those two things kind of go hand in hand. I'm an outdoors girl, so I am not the girly girl. I will be, you might find me at the drag strip. I'm a racer at heart. My family is in my blood. My father and a lot of my family were racers. I work on cars with my husband, play with my dogs. I really like being outdoors and kind of not necessarily stuck in front of a screen, though I do like anime. So if the weather's not good or, it's too hot or something like that, then I will pull up Amazon Prime or Hulu or something like that and actually just stream some anime shows.
What's your favorite anime, by the way?
So my favorite only had one season, and I still find myself going back to watch it. And it's called Another. But I watch Bleach. There's a couple of new ones that I've stumbled upon that I've kind of bookmarked, but I haven't gotten into. But I'll go back and watch my old like Vampire Hunter D, Blood the Last Vampire, those types as well.
Oh, that's very awesome. That's very awesome. So, in other words, you're a well-rounded person. You're an author. You do a lot of other things, not writing. So, my next question is, have you ever thought about doing books about any of your other interests?
degree in transpersonal psychology. And I think one of the things that ultimately I want to do, once I leave my regular 9-to-5 job, because I do have a 9-to-5 job, 10 years for retirement, I'm almost there. But what I want to do is I actually want to train to be a death doula. And then I kind of want to put together a program, a book, or something like that for children who are dealing with the loss of a parent throughout, their different stages of life, and how those things have affected the decisions that they've made, who they've become as a person, the growth, the struggles, those types of things, to kind of document that, and maybe set up some programs that people can go to assist and point them in the direction, and offer them resources to be able to help someone if they see a child going through that, or if that's kind of the area that they want to be in. Even a lot of the kids in foster care who are dealing with the trauma of being torn from a family, maybe not necessarily in death, but that is a form of death, in that, the change, being taken away. Your normal now is new and it's different, and how to deal with that. So ultimately, I think that's what I want to do. That's kind of what I've been leaning to do, and that's what led me into doing the transpersonal psychology part. But being able to meld that together with the writing is one goal that I'm hoping to attain within the next few years.
Okay. So my next question is, do you have any events, anything coming up literary-wise?
Well, I am an indie author, so I will be doing Indie Author Day at Clayton County. It is, and that's in Georgia. So it'll be in Monroe at the Ohio Christian College location off Mount Zion, I believe it is. So I'll be doing Indie Author Day. This is Speculative Fiction Month. So there's always events related to speculative fiction. I actually will be participating in a couple of Afrofuturism and speculative fiction events. They'll also be at the same place, the Ohio Christian College location, and that's through the Atlanta group of the Atlanta chapter of the State of Black Science Fiction and Fantasy.
Okay. And for those who don't know, what's actually speculative fiction?
Speculative fiction is kind of the high-level description of science fiction, fantasy, horror, Afrofuturism. There are a lot of different, but it's less of what people consider the typical fiction. So like your romances, your women's fiction, those types of things. This would be more of anything people would associate with, like I say, the horror genres, the science fiction, the fantasy, ghost, paranormal, all of those many genres within speculative fiction.
Right, awesome. Now my next question is, how can we get to know you better? How can we buy your books? How can we get to know you, follow you, your events? How can we, just follow you?
I'm everywhere, or I try to be everywhere. Not necessarily everywhere, but I do have my own website. So if you want to find all the different places to find me, typically my website is the best place to start. The web address is www.Ana'Gia-Wright, and that's Ana'GiaWright.com. I have a newsletter. You can sign up for my newsletter there. I have links to purchase all my books on the website, as well as links to get to my Facebook page, my Twitter and Instagram. I'm at Ana'Gia Wright. Try to be consistent across the board, so I'm easy to find. But like I said, the website is the best place to start to find me, and then you can find me anywhere else. My books are on Amazon, Barnes & Nobles, Apple, iTunes, pretty much anywhere you can buy books, you can find me.
Awesome. Actually, I'm going to talk to you about some of that here in a minute. Now, first, I want to give you the final word. Anything you want to say, any advice you want to give, the floor is yours.
Well, first and foremost, I want to thank all my fans, all my followers, people who have pushed me to do this next agency book. This wasn't supposed to be a book. As far as I was concerned, Love and Deja had its final ending, but for those of you who really, really pushed me and say, hey, we want to know more, we love these characters, we want to see what really has gone on with their lives, I want to say thank you. I want to say thank you to you, HTK, for giving me the opportunity to be on your show. And for anybody who is aspiring to get into this business, if you're going to get into it as a business, be aware that it is a business, and you should treat it as such, but don't necessarily let it crush you if you are really just a writer. If you want to be a writer, be okay with being a writer. If you want to be an author, then understand that you have to do what authors do, and that means handle the business as well as the creative aspects.
Next, we'll talk to Alycia Morris about her battle with cancer and how she won that fight. Even after 20 years, readers are still captivated with How to Lose a Black Woman. Now, in its second printing, follow the story of Bruce Williams. Shall I say, mild-mannered school teacher in search of love? Using social media, prayer, and a lot of trial and error, Bruce fights to learn what a true relationship is all about. Filled with original poetry by H.D. Campbell, it's a lesson from one young man's point of view. Buy How to Lose a Black Woman on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Smashwords, in your favorite bookstore, and even on his website at www.hdcampbell3.com. And as always, let your writing fuel your spirit.
It's going to be part of our thing. We're here about to do Exploration Earth. It's about to be a fun ride. Our friends are very happy. We're very happy. We're chilling.
Thanks, Jeff.
While we do Exploration Earth, I'll tell you language, English. So while we do that, let's go to our next author.
My sweatshirt it says TWIB, and the I is the breast cancer ribbon. It's my boyfriend's clothing line, which is The World is Backwards. He established it back in 2013. He started it with just little phrases on Twitter defining how the world is backwards, how we do certain things one way, but society has changed them into something different. So it's not more of just a brand, it's a movement. Like, he talks and he discusses everything in life. And so with it being Breast Cancer Awareness Month, the world is so backwards on the thoughts and cliches of where and what to do when it comes to breast cancer. So he came up with this logo for the month. And of course, I got the hoodie and the sweats to match. He's got t-shirts, and it's just kind of to bring more awareness to the fact of what's really going on in society when it comes to breast cancer. Like, not all the folk tales and the book logic that people think are going on with it.
And that's why I wanted to begin, because last year I spoke with you. Actually, it wasn't last year, a couple of years ago I spoke with you. We were talking about your book, your success and everything. Now look at you, author, model, cancer survivor. Let's talk about, let's before I get into the books and everything, let's just start with your journey to cancer survivor.
I was diagnosed February 24th of 2016, which was the day before my twins turned 13 years old. I had found a lump in my breast that January. That February, I went in for a mammogram. They found a second lump, and both the lumps had cancer in them. I started chemo in March of 2016. I couldn't do it. The chemo was too much for me. So I opted out for a left side vasectomy where I had my left breast removed. That was May of 2016. But the type of breast cancer I had was known to be an aggressor. So I still had to do chemo again, even after I had my breast removed. And I had to do chemo for a year. And I had my last chemo treatment July 7th of 2017. And unfortunately, I'm on a chemo pill, but I have to be on for 5 years. So I've got like 3 more years left of the chemo pill. But the chemo pill is known to cause cervical and ovarian cancer. So my OBGYN said, well, you've already had one body part try to kill you. Let's get rid of the other ones before they can. So I just recently had a hysterectomy last Wednesday. I'm sorry. This past Wednesday, I did have a hysterectomy. So therefore, I wouldn't have any other issues with cancer. So I had a cyst. They tested the cyst. The cyst was benign, so there was no cancer found. So I'm just on a recovery path right now, just doing everything that the doctors tell me. But also, I do my own thing. Like I cut a lot of things out of my diet. I exercise more. I'm more aware of foods that I'm putting in my body. Stress, things like that, that are things that really trigger and that cancer just really holds on to, that people just really don't know about.
Well, before I go into any further, what are some of the like just simple lifestyle changes that you made? You say you changed your diet. What are you eating less of? What are you eating more of? Things like that.
I don't eat anything out of a can. Anything that is processed food is not good for you. Anything that comes out of a can or a box that can sit on a shelf and just accumulate, you don't even know what it's accumulating inside of it. You need to stay away from. I don't eat pork. I stay away from the pork because pork's not clean. They don't clean it before they package it, and it's not good for you. I got rid of that. Anything that I do is fresh vegetables or frozen vegetables, or fresh fruit or frozen fruit. I try to stay away from fast food. I know it's hard with the way we are in society, but if you're going to choose fast food, try to choose something like Panera Bread. It might not be as fast, but the other places, they stay in business because people keep buying from them. And that stuff is not good for you because the amount of time that it takes for it to settle in your system, in your digestive system, it's not good for you. It takes way too long. And so those are some things that I just really had to stop doing. I had to start exercising more. If you don't do nothing but walk 30 minutes a day, keep your blood rate going, keep your heart rate going. Make sure you're not stressed out. Stress is one of the number one killers in life, but people don't realize that when you are stressed out, it shuts down certain parts of your body when you should be fighting things off. So if you're stressed out, you can't fight off a cold. You can't fight off pneumonia. You can't fight off diseases. So you need to be stress-free. You need to be happy in life. You need to be able to go about your day and not worry about certain things, which is really hard because we're almost in another recession right now, so it's kind of hard not to stress out about stuff. But that is one of the things right there that you don't want to do when you're trying to fight cancer is be stressed out because your body starts shutting down and you can't really fight it off. So those are just a couple of little things that, people can change in their lifestyle with being healthy.
So what you're saying is to stay stress-free, I have to turn the TV off and stop listening to Trump. Okay, I'll stop listening to Trump and we'll be stress-free. Okay, cool, I'll do that. Okay, just kidding.
Don't drive in stop traffic. It's hard. And another thing that I had to find out was your job. And I know this is hard for a lot of people. I worked in my job for 3.5 years. I loved my job. My job had the perfect hours. I worked Monday through Friday. I was off on Saturdays and Sundays. I worked 7 to 3. I was at work while my kids were at school. But my job was very stressful. Like, my job didn't understand what I was going through when I started my cancer battle. And I was stressed out, like, enormously. Like, more stressed out than I should have been because of my workplace. And I'll tell anybody, I don't care if it pays all your bills, if you're doing all of this, if it's stressing you, if it's making you sick as an individual, then you've got to find another job. you got to find something else that's still going to pay your bills, but also keep you healthy at the same time, because there are too many people nowadays working jobs that are literally killing it, and they don't realize it until it's too late.
Yeah, because I tell people all the time, when you're dead and gone, your job will still be there. In fact, they'll probably put your job up the day after your funeral
That's
for the
right.
next person to take it. So,
Unless you don't put in the proper paperwork, you know, to when you get sick to hold your position, they gonna put somebody else there. They don't care. That's corporate America for you.
exactly. So, and like I say, this cancer battle has made you aware of a lot of different things. But it does, especially within the medical field and insurance and all that other mess. So, I truly do understand. So, switch gears. How does this affect you as a mother?
Oh man. I thought in the beginning, you know, when I first found out, my first thought of my children. Because this was at a time in my life where my children, their personalities are growing. They're really growing in school. You know, my twins were in middle school. My oldest son was in high school. He's playing football. You know, they've got all these different activities going on. They're really trying to figure out what they're wanting to do in life. And then here comes mom with like, stop. Everything's got to stop in life because I've got breast cancer. But everything didn't. My kids continue to go to school. They continue playing their sports. They continue going to practice. You know, they continue to excel the way that I wanted them to excel, regardless of me having cancer. You know, my son I still taught him how to drive. My oldest son, I taught him how to drive right after I had my breast removed. Like, I was still getting him, and we were driving on the weekends and trying to, you know, still having a life. But my kids were the ones that showed me, like, you have to be able to push through what comes to you. You know, like they say, you get lemons, you got to make lemonade. My kids showed me, like, okay, we got thrown this curveball. Let's see how the game is going to play out. And we played it out and we won. You know, my twins are almost getting ready to graduate high school now. My oldest son has graduated high school. You know, he's working. He did a year of college. He said he wanted to take some time off. So I've learned to slow down. I've learned to slow down and enjoy life. I've learned to just really bask in everything that goes on around me and stop trying to rush all the time or be like, oh, wait, you got to do this, you got to do that, I got to be here, I got to be there. I'm so much more calm now. It's like the kids are like, Mom, I'm supposed to be here at 5, but I know you don't get off till 5:30. And I'm like, okay, we'll figure it out. You know, it's like I don't stress as much as I used to about certain things that we try to do in life. And that's something that cancer taught me. Cancer taught me to learn to just slow down and enjoy it, because you never know when it's not going to be there. You never know when tomorrow's not going to come. So you got to really just slow down and enjoy every little moment that you have. And that's what my children taught me. And so it really taught me to be a better mother. They taught me to be a better mother.
Okay, awesome. Now let's go on to your secret identity, your other life. How would this have affect your books, your writing, your career as a writer,
Oh my God.
or as an author?
When I first got cancer, I did not plan on writing a book about it. Like, I refused to. I was like, I don't want to let people into my life like that. I'm a very private person. Well, I was a very private person. I really didn't just like open up to people like that. But then when I really started thinking about it and I started praying about it, and I realized that my story is probably somebody else's story, but they don't know how to handle it. They don't know how to deal with it. So I wrote my first book, When Chaos Meets Tragedy, being a single parent, battling breast cancer, because when they show you the commercials, in all the commercials, what do you always see? You see the nice little family, she's got a husband, you know, she's got everybody there to take care of her. But they don't ever show you that there are realities where there are women that are battling breast cancer who are not married, who don't have a man in their life. They are doing this on their own every day. So I decided to write that book to show what I went through every day. Not just being battling cancer, but just being a single parent is that. Look at everything that we have to endure on a daily basis, on top of doing chemo, on top of all of the side effects, on top of all of the doctor's offices, the doctor visits. I mean, there's so much more that we go through that people don't realize. But I also wanted other women to see that it's possible. You can do it. You can push through. You can persevere, and you can come out on top and say, I won. I beat the battle, and I was still able to raise my kids at the same time. So that's kind of like where that book came from. The new book that's about to come out, it was supposed to be Finding Love After 30. That's where the whole book was supposed to come from. I was writing a book about, getting back out there and dating and, just seeing, I'm dating. I'm trying to find my mate. Nobody wants to live in this world alone. So I'm trying to find somebody for me that can accept me and understand everything that I've gone through. Well, going through the process of writing it, that's when it turned into Finding Love After Breast Cancer. Because I realized, okay, let's just keep it real, I'm not normal. I don't have two perfect breasts for you. I'm not, perfect skin, all of this. No, I ain't got long flowy hair, none of that. This is real and uncut. This is what you're getting. I have scars on my body that I'm always going to have. Eventually I'll get my breast reconstructed and I'll have to. But right now I've got one. So I take people on the journey of dating where society has been so much about your outer appearance, on what you look like. And then it also backs up the fact of men being able to back up their words when they say, oh, it's good, I can handle it. Yeah, but do your words match your actions? Because a man can tell you all day long he can accept something from you, but when he actually sees you and he has to touch you on a daily basis, that's when it becomes a reality. And so I take you all through my journey of dating and finally finding someone who accepts me for who I am, everything that I've been through, and loves me unconditionally no matter what. And so that's where the new book came from.
Before I say my next question, and this is one thing I tell my wife often, it's like, it doesn't matter, women always talk about the imperfections and all that. One of my biggest advices, that's why I'm not really into the big makeup and, you can't see me without my hair weave and all that mess. If I can't see you without any of that stuff, I don't want you in the first place, because honestly, you're basically lying to me.
Yeah.
You really don't want, so, and that's one thing I love about my wife. She doesn't really, care about this, that stuff too much, to where she loves me unconditionally, I love her unconditionally. It doesn't matter about any of that.
And that's true. And my thing, it was more or less, I didn't want to date a guy and like as soon as I meet him, like, hey, I've only got one breast, what sports do you like? And it wasn't one of those things where it's like you just come off like the first time you talk to him. It's like I would try to like bridge the gap a little bit before we kind of talked about it. But then, like I said, it's some things that some people can handle, and it's some things people cannot handle. That's just their forte. That's just how they are. That's just their mind frame. There are some men that's what they like. They want a woman that's got long weave. They want her to have makeup on every day. They want her to have the perfect body. That's their mindset. But then you also have men out there who are not worried about the outer appearance. They are more concerned with a woman's, her spirit, her soul, her inner, because they're like, if your inner is not beautiful, then your outer is going to be ugly.
Exactly.
And so that is where me being able to find the man that I'm dating now, we were able to talk about it because he also has some imperfections that he had to deal with growing up, that he had to deal with his family. And, he was like, I get teased a lot about a lot of stuff, and I get talked about and I get laughed about. And I'm looking at him like, to me, there's nothing wrong with you. So we both kind of had our imperfections that made us perfect for each other.
Okay. Now, which brings me to my next question. Because you've always been a model even before your cancer battle. What made you decide to go?
My mom put me in modeling school when I was in middle school because I was such a tomboy. Like, I liked to climb the trees. I was always at the creek catching the frogs and the turtles. And she just wanted to make me a girl, just so bad. Like, it was just that she felt like that was her last straw, was putting me in modeling school. So when we lived in Dallas, she enrolled me in John Casablanca Modeling School. And when I tell you that, when I first started, I was just like, oh my God, I'm gonna hate this. But I learned so much. Like, I learned things that help me now as an adult. You know, just even going to job interviews, or when you're talking to someone, or when you go to dinner with someone. They taught me so many things about, you know, dinner etiquette, how you're supposed to talk to someone, how you're supposed to stand, how you're supposed to sit. And it just kind of grew with me. And a couple of years ago, a friend of mine, he was starting his photography, and he asked me, he was like, hey, can I take some pictures of you? Kingston, get down, sit. And I was like, sure, you know, he was starting his portfolio off. So I was like, all right. And so he kind of took some pictures of me, and we just kind of went from there. It got further than what we thought it was going to be. And then a friend of mine, she told me about a breast cancer awareness fashion show. And she was like, oh my God, you need to be in this fashion show. I need you in this fashion show. And I was like, okay, you know, when is it? So she told me when the fashion show was, and I went to practices, and it was crazy because they did a spotlight of me being a breast cancer survivor at the fashion show. And after that, it just kind of took off. Like, I started getting emails from people and getting inboxes, and they were like, hey, are you interested in doing this photo shoot, or are you interested in doing that? And I just kind of just went out on a leap of faith and said, you know what, I'm about to use this platform for much more than what it could be. So that's why I did the swimsuit issue, because I wanted my breast cancer sisters out there that are battling, that have survived, to know that you are still beautiful no matter what. No matter what scars we have, no matter how our hair texture is down, no matter what, we are still beautiful. We can still rock it in front of the camera, off the camera, whatever the course may be. And so I just kind of wanted to be that mogul for women out there to know that, hey, look what we can do. This is what breast cancer survivors do. And so that was just kind of just where it came from. I kind of use it as like a hobby, but also as a networking tool. But I love it. I enjoy it. It's a lot of fun. That's where I met my boyfriend. We met on the set of a photo shoot. So it just kind of goes from there.
Awesome. Because I love your spread with the breast and with everything. I love your spread, basically your topless spread, because you're showing the world that, hey, I'm still beautiful.
And it wasn't even, you know, it was the beautiful part, but it was the point of saying, you know, there's women out here that got two breasts, that go topless and do photo shoots. Hey, we can still do it. I can still rock it, regardless of whatever the case may be. But I'm also showing people that, you know, it took me a long time to just get undressed in front of a mirror when I got out the shower, before I got in the shower. You know, and that was kind of like a stepstone for me to be like, I'm about to get in front of this camera and show everyone, like, hey, I've gone through my fight. I've gone through my battle, and I won. And this is my victory lap. And that's what that photo shoot kind of was for me.
Okay. Now, switching gears, because like I say, it's a feature lies an author. Do you have any more books coming out cancer related, or do you just have any more books out? Period. Coming out.
I have an erotica series that has got to be re-released. It was under a publisher, but I'm no longer under that publisher. So I'm gonna re-release those. I do have another murder mystery coming out.
Yes.
But I don't. The breast cancer books, they kind of just come to me. They are not planned at all. I wish I could say, yeah, they're planned out, but they're just something that kind of comes to me like in the middle of the night, and I get up and I jot the ideas down and I make me an outline, and then it's like, oh, here we go, we got a book, and that's just kind of how it goes with me. Like, there's some books I can say I have planned out, and I don't never get to them. And then there's some things, like I said, they come to me, and I go with the flow.
You know, the subject matter aside, as writers and authors, especially because I'm with you on that. A lot of times, certain books are like unplanned children.
They are.
Yeah,
like, they come up out of nowhere. Like, where did you come from?
Right. You have an idea for a whole book, and next thing you know, another book just springs up. Oh my God. Oh, okay.
Right. And then you got to put that other book on the side.
Yes.
Say, okay, well, wait, we'll come back to that.
Right.
So, and that's true because I was working on. I did my book Lost and Forgotten, and I was working on a prequel to that, like the story beforehand. And I was working on that when the relationship manual books came to me. How I broke my own heart, how he broke his own heart. So I put that on the side, and I wrote those books. And then it came with Finding Love After Breast Cancer. So it's like, I still have that book sitting here that I need to finish. That I'm like, okay, I'll get to it eventually. But it's not really like something that I'm rushing to do.
Is there, all right, what can we do to follow your journey? A website, or that way we can talk to you because you're an inspiration to a lot of people.
Well, thank you. I do have a website. My website is Author Alycia Morris, www.authoraliciamorris.com. It gives you my backstory a little bit. All my books are available on there. There's a way for you to contact me. You can send me an email. You can just shoot me a message or anything. I am on all social media networks. I'm on Facebook. I'm on Twitter. I'm on Instagram. I'm on Snapchat. I'm on LinkedIn. Just Author Alycia Morris, or just type in Author Alycia. It's going to pull it up. I've got two model sites. I've got a model Instagram page, and I have a model Facebook page. It's Survivor/model Alycia. You'll see all the breast cancer awareness things on there. And it's more for knowledge, because I've had, matter of fact, this past week, I've had a couple of women inbox me and tell me, like, oh my God, I never really knew about your story until I saw you on Facebook, and you're such an inspiration. And I just want women to know that, you're not out there alone. We are here to help each other. If I can talk to you about something to give you better awareness, if you can talk to me about something about my post-cancer, we're just here to help each other out and bring more awareness to the situation that's going on.
Okay. Now, what's in the future for you?
Woo! Well, I'm pushing towards doing some public speaking engagements next year. I've got 2 right now that I'm waiting to hear back from for some women's conferences that are going to be in Atlanta. One's going to be in Miami. That's my next step after, with the books, is getting out there and being able to talk more about my journey and just talk to more women about having more awareness with themselves and just being happy within themselves and being aware about, their bodies and what they're putting in their bodies. And so that's one of my biggest steps for next year.
Okay. Now, this is where I give you the final word. Any advice you want to give, any shout-outs you want to give, anything you want to say, final word is yours.
Well, I just want to give a huge shout-out to just all of my followers, Those who follow me on Facebook, people who have friended me on Facebook and Instagram, thank you so much. Thank you all of you all who are just continuing to step up to the fight. Thank you, Nick Jones, for TWIB, for making more awareness. Big ups to, there's another t-shirt line called All Gas No Brakes, that they have a t-shirt out for breast cancer awareness. Lots of big ups to, there are different photographers that this time of the year, they do breast cancer awareness photo shoots to show that, you know, this is something that's really, it's serious and it should be taken serious on a daily basis. So big ups to you all. Just keep doing what you're doing. Keep asking questions. Please don't hesitate to ask questions. Always, always, always just be more aware yourself. I thank you for your Author's Corner, just giving me the platform to just be able to speak out about what I've gone through and what I'm going through and how I'm trying to reach others in my journey. And don't, everybody has a story. Don't let somebody tell your story for you.
You don't know me, but trust me, your husband does. Whether he's willingly wants me or not, he will have me. And there is nothing, absolutely nothing you can do about it. Just check out what I can do, because none of you women with loyal husbands are safe. Trust me on that.
So I am in line buying gifts for our babies at the Star Wars store. Look at what I got. I got a Yoda, I got a fork, and I got many little Star Wars toys. The Star Wars store is so excellent. In fact, like, here is where I'm going to give you my thought for the day. George Lucas started this a long time ago. This was his vision. You never block a man's vision. His vision turned into so much today. And now look, he never thought his vision would become a store, and look at it now. A store, a ride, and everything. So, as authors, we can do the same thing. We can also we have visions, we have book dynasties, Stephen King, Victoria Christopher Murray, and a lot of people. So, with that said, this is the Author's Corner, live from Epcot, well, not today, live from Hollywood Studios. Peace, hair grease, and as always, let your writing fuel your spirit, and God bless.
You've earned your star.
me back.
I ain't getting that.
It's your last day. Time to tally your scores.
I'm telling the scores. I'm telling the scores. Woohoo! Woohoo!
Oh, way to play, everyone. Examine their scores.
69 to 100. Woohoo! I had fun.
I did too.
That's in the vehicle. Who had 110? Wait, what's that the combination?
I think that's a combination.